Welcome to Analog Catholic.
NightStream edition.
That sounded so cool when you said that.
I don't think that's true at all.
It was true.
Dude, my Mac's acting weird, dude. After I downloaded that app you told me to download, I don't know.
It's
It's not the
okay.
biggest fan of this situation. Yeah, it's like really freaking.
You have to pay a lot of money to app on the App Store. So they really want to hack into your Mac.
They,
Google Play app, it's another problem. It's like $25 to get a Google Play app. So
I think it's interesting that you know that.
yeah. Because I used to have it. I used to have apps.
You had an app?
Yeah, for my blog back in the day.
You had an app
a
on
young-
your personal blog. You had a
Yeah.
personal app for your personal blog back in the day.
It's only $25. One-time fee. To have an
Hey,
app
one
on the Google
time,
Play
dude,
Store.
okay. Maybe we should drop an app for
Yeah, we
Catholic
did.
on.
It's so easy to make them.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm just looking for this app that's not on my app
So
stuff
that
anymore.
anymore.
I'm so confused where this is.
My name's Ben.
Oh, hi Ben. I'm Rob, and I don't know how to do a live stream.
Yeah. It's
So,
live now. You realize how
the
much of our
motivation.
podcast is cut?
Yeah,
Like every other word.
our no, not our. My motivation to do a live stream is it because of all the other Catholic influencers that do live streams. I don't particularly care about that. I mean, good for them. Whatever. I just don't really particularly care. But I'm a huge fan of Art Bell, and I just wanted to I'm such a huge fan. Well, I can actually do this now. This is crazy. I have his book, The Art of the Talk, or The Art of Talk, right? Get it? Because his name's Art Bell, so The Art of Talk.
Have you read
Look
it?
at this. Ready for that? Signed.
No way.
Signed.
I thought he was
Signed.
dead.
He is dead. No, so this this is a used book I bought. When he released that book, I guess he the first however many were sold, he just personally autographed and shipped out. So a lot of the copies of the books that exist are signed just for the fact that he decided to sign a lot of them. So it wasn't that pricey of a book, because it's not the signature itself isn't really that rare. So, but yeah, dude, so that's my motivation behind live streaming. What's what's your motivation? You got to start that,
This guy Art Bell, he's pretty cool. No, I want to be like every other Catholic influencer. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you just
Looking for that Catholic influencer money. No, I feel like what we do on the podcast is way too just high stress and scripted. Because we plan for weeks. We
Yeah.
study the script and then we sit down and we just read it. So, hoping for something less scripted
yeah. Yep.
than the podcast. Still heavily scripted, but what can you do?
Mm-hmm. What's our talk for tonight, man? Oh, what are you drinking there, bud?
It's a little cozy chamomile.
Cozy chamomile.
It's a
You
nice.
gonna make yourself sleepy for the
night
night
stream.
stream?
Well,
Should you
for
be
after.
wired?
For after, I'm going to bed.
I feel like I'm using. I was gonna pop an Alp, but I am currently using my Alp tins to prop up my iPad so that it can
It's really
properly be as angled as it can be to get this. So, yeah,
keeping you sober.
yeah, that's it. That's what's happening. Man.
I'm drinking my cozy chamomile, so I'm throwing my life down the drain. All right, what are you gonna talk about first, Robert? We got some options here.
So in homage to Art Bell, we're gonna start with some headlines, I think. Unless there's any other things you want to talk about.
I don't think so, man.
Anything else really get into you? Okay.
What if we just read our blog posts from Analog Catholic?
Yeah,
that's what you should be.
100% people
live reactions to our
own blogs by ourselves.
I think this was ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT wrote this article.
I think what I'm really afraid of is one day just writing an article and thinking to myself, this is a really well written article. I think people will like it. And then someone just replies with how much AI is this? And it's 80% AI. And they're like, you wrote this with AI. And I'd be like, no, I didn't, I swear. And then I'm forever blamed for being AI. So
I have
yeah, dude.
nightmares
All
about
right. what's your first headline? Let's throw it away.
it. Robert, I told you I didn't. Come on. No, we can start. We can start with Phillip Rivers. Let's start with Phillip Rivers.
But yeah, Phil Rivers. You gotta keep talking about Phil Rivers to me, and I know why, because he's coming out of retirement, and
All right,
I
let's see if
drafted
we
him
can
in the
screen
fantasy
share.
league I'm in.
Really?
Yeah, just for fun. I'm not
At the
gonna
beginning of
start
the
him.
season.
Yeah, could you imagine?
You were like, I knew
No,
this was gonna happen.
as soon as I heard the rumors that he was coming out of retirement, I immediately drafted him before he even signed with the Colts. So now that he's confirmed starting tomorrow, I think it's very fun that I have him, but he's on my bench because he's projected to do 9 points. Though it would be funny if he just puts on like a clinic
He's gonna do
and
more
just
than
puts
that.
like 5
I feel good
touchdowns.
about this.
I think it's one of those really good litmus tests for, are the old school QBs better than the current defense, or are the old
Yeah.
school QBs incapable of actually playing in today's defenses?
Yeah. So that's a big part of it. So for those that don't know, we'll give a little backstory. So Phillip Rivers, big QB, big guy.
Big Phil Rivers. I got
Excuse me,
my
a
whole
little sick here.
computer screwed.
Sorry if I
Yeah,
get you sick over the computer.
yeah, that's
Um,
fair. That's what happens.
you know, should wear a mask. So Phillip Rivers, like early 2000s, I think he started in the NFL. Um,
Yeah,
and he was great. He's like Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but he was on the ballot to be in the Hall of Fame this year.
but it gets reset, which is funny.
Yeah, he has to
So
wait.
now he has to wait another 5 years.
Dude, dying over here. No, he was great quarterback, Hall of Fame caliber, like very good quarterback. Not super like run around quarterback, but smart quarterback, can throw the ball well. He was with the Chargers for like most of his career.
Yeah,
And they went over to the Indianapolis Colts, I think, just for his last year. And they made a run at the Super Bowl. He never won a Super Bowl, but he was like, everyone knew he was really good, even despite the fact that he never won a Super Bowl. And
yeah,
they
yeah.
made him the playoffs, and I don't think they made it past the first round. Maybe they made it the second round, but they were a really good team that year, and I think that was 2020. And then he retired. But he's Catholic, and he has 10 kids, which is awesome. That's why I root for him. And there's some clip that I saw like I should pull it up. This is what we do on the live stream. I gotta pull it up.
Yeah, you can pull it up now, dude. Get
Pull it up.
cracking, dude. Get cracking.
Pull it up live.
I'm watching the live stream, but I'm deliberately ignoring us because there's a delay and it freaks me out. So I'm just looking at your screen, which is still delayed from what you're saying, but less freaky.
Exactly. But there's this great like interview of him in his home with his daughter. It's just funny. It's just funny because he's in college. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it, but he's like
He had a daughter in college.
with his like
Good for him.
1-year-old daughter, and he was like playing football at the time and like going to class. Oh my gosh, excuse me.
You're really dying over here. You got the vid?
Anyway, so he retired. They didn't make a shot. They didn't make it to the Super Bowl or anything. He retired. And then this year is the first year the Colts have been like good since then. And they have this quarterback, Daniel Jones. Oh my gosh. He's on the younger side. He was with, I think, the Giants the past year or two. And the Giants have been terrible. But he came over to Indianapolis, and then he's been playing really well. And then he just got injured. And he's out for the season. And so they're sort of like stuck because they're like, and they like two of their backups also got injured, I think. So it's sort of like they're on like their fourth string quarterback. And they're like, well, we have a shot at the playoffs because we have a good record because we had a good beginning of the season. So like, what are we going to do? So they call Phillip Rivers, and it sounds like he's starting tomorrow.
He is. Yeah. It's confirmed.
It sounds pretty certain that he's going to be taking the first snap, which is crazy because he's 44 years old, and he just became a grandfather a few months ago.
Good for him.
Which is so funny. And he's going to be playing football, which is crazy.
Dude, you got to love it, man.
But I was so pumped the year. So I grew up in New England, So I've been a Patriots fan my whole life.
I
But
know. It's terrible.
the year that where'd you grow up?
No,
Because
not the New England part, the Pats fan part.
well, you can't blame me if I grew up in New England,
I
and
mean,
the
it's fair.
Patriots were
Yes.
winning like every other Super Bowl. Um, but I was like rooting for him that year because I was like, this great Catholic quarterback could win a Super Bowl, his last year, and I was like, oh, it didn't happen, not God's plan. But now, dude, he's back, and not to say I want him to win more than I want the Patriots to win this year, but it's pretty equal. It's pretty equal at this point. And
Hmm, hmm.
so they brought him in, and he's been like practicing, and people are like saying he's pretty good, you know. And he was never like, and this is what he said it in his sort of interview this week, where he's like, I was never the guy that was like running away from the defensive lineman, like he was never the fast guy in the pocket when he was playing quarterback. Like he was just the smart player that could throw it well and throw it fast. And so he's older, so maybe he's not going to throw it as far,
Hmm.
but it seems like he has a shot at throwing accurately, and he's still, he doesn't have like Alzheimer's, right? Like he's young enough that he's still like
Can
mentally
play
sharp,
call. Yeah.
So like that's the big thing. It's like, all right, he can play similar to how he was playing. Maybe he's not quite as good as he was 5 years ago, but I saw somebody comparing his stats 5 years ago to Daniel Jones this year, who was their quarterback that just got injured, and
Hmm,
he was
hmm.
a much better quarterback, Phillip Rivers, 5 years ago. So it's like, well, if he's not quite as good as he was, he might still be like at the same level as Daniel Jones was, with like different pros and cons there. But they get a shot. They get a shot. I'm excited, and he's Catholic. Um, that's why I'm
That's
excited.
all that wins.
And he's
My
smart.
wife plays fantasy football as well, and she likes to know who the Catholic players are because she'll prioritize drafting them. She won't sabotage her team by like getting someone who's not good just because he's Catholic. But if there's like a toss up between people, the Catholic always wins out. And so I think it's very cute of her to do that.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
cute too because
I don't I don't prescribe so much to that. I just try to get the best player I can because I'm trying to win. But
yeah.
I think it's cute
One
that she
gets you
does
into
that.
heaven, one gets you there.
Drafting Catholic football players is a requirement to get into
Yeah,
heaven.
exactly. Not a
So
requirement, but is
they
it
don't
a
tell you
requirement?
that. They don't tell you that in catechism class. It's actually in the Bible, and that's why only Protestants know that. Catholics don't know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Phil Rivers. I think it's fun. It's gonna be a fun slate of games tomorrow. I'm salty because
The Cowboys
I
are
don't
bad.
get no. Well, I'm not really a Cowboy fan. My family is, and I'm of course like sympathetic to them. But I'm salty because tomorrow's game, the 1 o'clock game, is Bills Pats, except for where I live. It's
Oof.
because I'm close to a different geographical team, and so they prioritize that, and I'm so salty because I wanted to watch Bills Pats so bad. It's gonna be such a good game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good matchup.
So
I think if the
that's
Patriots win, they knock they clinch the
they clinch the division,
division.
yeah, which is huge. That's why it's like such a big important game because the Bills win, there's a chance they win the division, but if the Pats win, the division's over.
I
Bills
feel
are
like
scraping for a wild card.
the Bills are not gonna win the division.
Ah,
I think they'd have to
I
win
don't
it.
know if they'll win a division, but I think they'll beat the Pats tomorrow. I
I
think
think there's a shot of that. But I think even if they do, I don't see them winning the division just because they have a much harder schedule too at the end.
they do, yeah. And but Josh Allen, he's got to play for keeps tomorrow. He'll be highly motivated. He's coming off a really crazy good win against the Bengals, and he just announced his wife is pregnant.
Wow.
So he's playing for the baby tomorrow. You can't sully the baby news by
There was some
losing.
interview with
Yeah.
Josh Allen at the beginning of the season, and I don't know if he got married this summer or something, but he was like, "Oh, like I've realized this off season that life's about more than football." So now everybody's like, "That's why he's not playing that good this year, just because he has other priorities." Like
Yeah, well, he
when he
did get
just cared
married,
about
so yeah.
football, yeah. When he just cared
Yeah.
about football, he was great, and
Now he's like, man, there's
now
more to
he
life. And they're like,
cares
dude,
about
no.
marriage and family life, and
You got to win a ring before you can start caring about anything else,
go to the toilet.
if you're a Bills fan. But this was going to be my segue into streaming. So I just started. Yeah, my friend just got Paramount Plus because they were doing like a hey, get 2 months for $3 a month, so it's like super cheap. And I did it because I was anticipating this flip in January to UFC being a Paramount Plus thing. It's no longer a pay-per-view on ESPN. It's just like straight up streaming on Paramount Plus. And I was like, well, I'll join early now because there's a good deal. It's like cheap for 2 months and whatever. I can like watch Star Trek in the meantime. Then I realized we get access to CBS football now too. And we don't watch football a ton. We put like a game on a Sunday. Um, and that's where I'm now getting upset about this blackout restriction because they're like, no, you can only get your what's considered your local game, and my local game is not Bills Pats, even though you think it would be based on where I live. Um, and it digs into my deep resentment for all of the major sports associations right now and corporations because they are the most anti-consumerist when it comes to actually being able to watch their sports. What every single major sports network or company, whatever, needs to do is let people go online, go to like NFL.com or MLB.com, and just purchase a season of their team. And you can just watch every single one of your team's games, whatever day they're playing, wherever they're playing, even if you're standing right outside the stadium. And just let people do that because this whole like blackout restriction thing, geographical restriction thing that's like, oh, like baseball nowadays, it's like they have deals with Apple TV for certain Friday games. There's certain games on Wednesday night on Amazon Prime. ESPN has Sunday night baseball, though I think that's over. But then I think they just made a deal with like NBC, and now Netflix has some games. I'm like, dude, I don't need to purchase 10 streaming services to watch baseball. Let me just watch baseball. And it's crazy because it used to just be, well, if you had cable, you could watch every game no matter what. And then if you had these streaming services, you can also have access to it. Now they're like cutting out the cable. Like if the Amazon Prime games are just on Amazon Prime. You can't even watch them on cable. And it's just, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like all these sports people like scratching their head, like, oh, how do we get the youth engaged in watching sports? Like make it accessible for the youth to watch sports. No one under the age of 40 has cable anymore. Everyone just gets the streaming services they want to watch. So just be another streaming service, and people that care enough to want to watch the sport will pay for it. I'll be happy to pay for a season of Yankee games, But if you're just gonna blackout restrict because of where I live, like, no, I'm not the biggest fan of that.
Yeah,
Lost the customer, and now I can't watch Yankee games at all because I don't have cable.
yeah. And I bet, like, so I think the justification when these things, like, for why it is the way it is now is because they were trying to preserve cable, which is just stupid. And especially now, like, you could just flip the switch as the NFL or the NHL or something and just say, we're just going to sell our own streaming service. And I
Yeah,
bet they would, like, make the same amount of money, maybe more. Maybe not. Maybe they'd make, I don't know. I think if they set the price high enough, people would still pay for it if it was the only way to do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um, so I feel like they just got to do it. But I think what wasn't baseball that way for a while? Or the like sports teams or no, like individual teams for the MLB or no,
For what? Say it again.
for like having their own streaming services. Was that a thing, or am I making that up?
Some do. So the Yankees do. And then actually got bought out by this like New York based one that has the Knicks also involved, and I think the Rangers. But there's like some places that got picked up by MLB as the default because the people that owned them, I don't know, like got rid of them or something. So if you're, I think like a Padres fan, like you actually just get to use MLB TV to watch your team, and you're just like fine. There's no blackout restriction, and I'm like, ah, so annoying. But it's just like a weird, yeah, I don't know. It's just something I think that's detrimental to the growth of the sport. Um, and that yeah, just make it convenient for your customers to give you money. Like that's my answer to that. I want to give you my money, MLB. You are not letting me give you my money. That's on you. Like I'm not gonna break down and go get a cable subscription now. It's just silly.
Well,
But
somebody in the chat just mentioned Nesson. Um, we had somebody in the chat, which is crazy.
there's someone in the chat. That's great.
But
Well, I think I know who it is because I sent a link to someone and they said they're in the chat. So
but
shout out guy in the chat.
does Nesson like let you watch the playoff games once it gets further down for like the
No,
Bruins?
so
Like I feel like they
baseball
restrict that more.
super no baseball's I'm like typing my computer weird because the way my setup is. Sorry, everyone. Um, Baseball playoffs are bought out by cable networks, so it's like TBS or Fox. And so you can't just keep watching my Neston or anything. Um, and that kind of becomes like another issue with sports when you get to the playoffs for baseball is now you have national broadcasters who you like don't like or who may not like your team, and so they kind of talk crap about them instead of getting your natural like your local broadcasters, which should be more fun for the fans. But um, yeah, I don't know. That's my rant. That's my rant. But I have another thing that came up when I said that was UFC, and this is where I want to bring in now, like a more of like a Catholic moral theological approach to this, because the very first time I got approached about UFC post conversion was a student when I was a folks missionary who was like, "Hey, I like the UFC. Maybe one night we host a UFC watch party with some guys, make it a whole thing." And I was like, "That makes sense to me. That's a good idea." And my teammate was like, "I don't think we can do that. I think it's immoral to watch UFC." And it wasn't because he had a deeply held belief that that was the case, but rather because someone had like a priest had told him like a year or so ago, like that's not good to watch, like don't watch it. So I brought this to our chaplain, and our chaplain didn't give like an enthusiastic thumbs up, but he said there's something technically immoral with watching it. So I like to talk to people that like at least have an idea of what UFC really is like, and also an idea of Catholic moral theology, and see where their approaches are with it. And most that I get is it's fine. There's nothing wrong with watching it. Um, because it's organized, has rules, there's consent between the two fighters, and there's at least an attempt of sportsmanship in it. So it's not like you just beat each other up until someone's dead, or you beat each other up until someone's like mortally wounded or is suffering some catastrophic injury. Um, but it's a desire for the fighters to just like be the best to win. So it's like there's this virtuous attempt at progressing in their respective sport. So if that's the approach to it, if that's how the fighters are viewing it, that's how you view it as a fan, like that's one thing. If you as a fan view it as I want to see as much blood as possible, I want to see someone get seriously hurt. You know, like my goal of watching UFC is to see someone die. And it's like that's a disordered approach to watching the UFC. And in that case, like yes, there's an issue with you watching the UFC and you shouldn't do it. Um, so as I've said earlier, like I subscribe to Paramount because they're getting UFC now to stream for them as opposed to being a pay-per-view thing with ESPN. So I think we've talked about this before, Ben, but I'm not 100% positive. Um, but what's your take on UFC and on the
Uh,
fighting and everything?
yeah, we talked about this on a podcast before. Um,
How we okay? Yeah, I can't tell, man. If it's not on a live stream, it's not real.
yeah, no,
It's all
exactly.
scripted. Yeah,
It's yeah. I read the script to that episode. I think I did your voice too, so I think you were
yeah,
even involved. Yeah, no, I think I have a similar take to you and to like the lukewarm pastor. Not that he's
yeah,
lukewarm in things in general, but I think about UFC. Like I'm just yeah. Like I think it feels to me, and I think I said this on the podcast that like if you disqualify UFC because it's too violent, like you kind of also have to disqualify like football, right? Like
yeah.
the goal
Hmm.
is different, right? Like the goal of UFC is to hurt the other person, right? But like it's sort of the goal of football. Like that's happening as an intention just as much in football. It's just like there's another thing going on as well. So like I get it. Like I get the hesitation and I'm not like this is the best thing for everybody to watch this. But like you can't say it's wrong without like ruling out a lot of other things. Um Yeah, I'm also like not like itching to watch UFC, so like I don't care too much about it. But
Yeah.
you can't be like, this is terrible and nobody should watch it. I just don't think you can really stand on that view like fully. I think you can say I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to let my kids watch it. Like, yeah, I think that's fine. I get the criticism that like, is this good for our culture to watch these people like beat each other up? And it's
Yeah.
like yes and no. Like I think there are issues in our culture that the issues are discouraged by people beating each other up. Like like by watching that. Um, but there are other issues that are encouraged. So like with anything, I think it's a prudence thing. But yeah, I don't think you can say flat out like it's terrible and wrong to just watch it at all, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think culturally, I don't know. I don't think it influences the culture that much. I think it's becoming bigger, but it really hasn't been like it's not like football where it just sort of dominates so many things. And I'll give UFC this. They do their thing Saturday night. So Sunday's still for the Lord. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what they're thinking.
Um that's well there actually are some pretty I guess like based on some words and some actions, faithful and even Catholic like fighters that are there. So I'm sure yeah, there's a little bit from the fighters themselves. But I don't know. I think yeah, I think just because I know one of the big poo pooers of UFC is Matt Fradd, but I think your argument that well if violence in a sport is wrong, we have to stop a bunch of different sports as well. So yeah, but
What are your thoughts on? You said not to talk about politics, but
yeah,
UFC at the White House. Like, what do you
just
think?
throwing that in. Yeah, I think I I don't know. I just think it's like funny. I don't care. Um, it's so Rome Empire, like Roman Empire coded. It was just like, what do we do to celebrate the birthday of our nation? Ah, yes, we have people beat each other up for sport and blood in front of everyone, and I think that's fun. I don't know. Again, it's like not like actual gladiator battles where they would fight to the death and people be maimed seriously. So it's not that bad. I think it really just depends on how it's presented. Um, I think there's a lot of pressure on Dana White to find the two best fighters to be the main card because if you have a lame main card, it's like exponentially worse than if you make it, then like if it's just like a regular UFC event and it's like, that kind of sucked, but whatever. But if it's like the White House lawn 250th anniversary of the nation and you can't produce something well, I think that's a lot of pressure. I think the concept's funny. I feel like it's one of those things that probably just like Trump probably just like shot from the hip from, and someone took it as real, and Dana White's like, I'll do it," and Trump was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, all right, we're doing that. We'll just great UFC fight from the White House. It's gonna be great, the best fighters with the best fighters in America. I think it's gonna be like that. Um, so I think yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
feel like
that's my thought.
people are being people about this. I think like I agree. It does feel very like
Yeah,
at the political center of the country, we're gonna have
yeah,
people beat each other up for sport. That feels very Rome coded. But I don't know. Like to compare it to football again. Like how would people feel if there was just a football game at the White House? You'd be like, that's cool.
yeah,
Like I don't think people would be freaking out as much. I think it's because people have like reservations on UFC that they're more critical about it, and because it's Trump, they're like just innately more critical. But I don't know. I agree. It's like a fun thing. Yeah, the president's like, let's host this event, and it's like, okay.
yeah. I think it's gonna be good overall. I'm I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it, so
It is
I don't
on
know about
Paramount
it.
Plus, so now that I hear you're a subscriber, they're planning on it on there.
Yeah. To watch them charge more money for it, I'd be so mad. Dude. Oh man. So there's an article I read today, um,
Dude,
which
you gotta send it, man. You gotta
I
send
read
it to
it.
me.
I
It's
did
cool.
send it to you, dude. I texted it to you.
Oh, this is the one you texted me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
All right,
read this
cool.
article today because I knew it was gonna do exactly what I thought it was gonna do because it's what every single article like this does. So it's an article from Ars Technica, and it's about the headline is "Man shocks doctors with extreme blood pressure stroke from energy drinks." And I'm like, all right, right off the bat, I'm like, there's more to this story than just simply a guy drinking energy drink and then like had a stroke or like had extremely high blood pressure. So first off, actually one of the things that I learned from this was that you can have a blood pressure of 254 over 150 and not just be dead. So good for that. Good to know that. For record, your normal reading should be like 120 over 80. Probably even a little lower if you can even get that. Uh, so he goes to the hospital for this massive, like massively high blood pressure, and they have no idea because he's like a normal. He's like he's in his 50s and he's completely healthy otherwise. And they finally treat him. His blood pressure lowers, not like to a point where he doesn't need to be hospitalized, but it's still high. So like, hey, you know, keep doing things that help lower your blood pressure when you're home. He eventually comes back, um, because his blood pressure is going back up again. So they're like, dude, what are you doing? Let's get some more into the weeds here for lifestyle. And so this is where the whole thing kind of comes undone. He drinks eight energy drinks a day. And each energy drink has 160 milligrams of caffeine. So he's drinking like almost 1,300 milligrams of caffeine, which is 3.25 times like the upper limit that's recommended for caffeine consumption. Um, and there's also just like other things in there that can affect the body and stimulate people. Um, so they're basically like, okay, this guy was drinking, just like constant amount of energy drinks every single day, and it accumulated into a point where it just gave him these things, even though he's healthy otherwise. So there's a lot of this that goes around. I've talked about this before. Energy drinks are like one of the easiest targets to find this. Um, but where they'll lead into like, oh, kid dies after drinking Monster Energy drinks, and then you read into it, and it's like, oh, he stayed up for like 30 hours straight, drank six Monster Energies, and was staring at a computer screen for 20 hours out of 30 hours. And I'm like, yeah, he probably died because of all of those things, not because he drank a Monster Energy drink. Um, there was like a big deal with the Panera lemonade, and they're like, oh, it's the death lemonade because it has so much caffeine it killed someone. And then you go into the article, and like four paragraphs down, it's, oh yeah, she had a heart issue and like really shouldn't have had any caffeine at all. It's like, okay, so like again, if you have these issues or if you're abusing it, sure, like an energy drink could kill you, but it's never worded in that way. It's always portrayed in a way of like, oh, this guy had an energy drink and died, or like one of them was like super famous bodybuilder like died from energy drink. Again, like same thing, and you read the article and it's, oh, she was taking like a bajillion things a day and was drinking like multiple energy drinks a day and was just like stressing out her body with extreme weightlifting daily. And it's like, okay, again, there's so much more at play here than someone cracked open a Red Bull one day and just died. Which, by the way, I would say if you ever drink an energy drink and you're like, what's the safe ones? Not medical advice, but if you're like looking for like the quote unquote cleanest or healthiest energy drinks, do Red Bull or Celsius. Basically, avoid everything else. I don't take that advice, but I have been limiting my energy drink intake. So
Crazy,
yeah.
man. You,
But
you
anyway,
like
so that was my rant. So my rant is not about necessarily energy drinks or anything like that. It's just this constant need for journalists to just misrepresent things in the headline to grab your attention. And so many people just stop at the headline. And dude, I have an Instagram for my convenience store blog, um, which I still haven't published my travel travel log from October, and I should probably do that. But I was on it the other day because someone sent me something, and so it like got me on Instagram, and I scrolled up for like a half second, and I was reading some comments on some stuff. It was like news things that I knew for a fact were false. Like it was like it came out, like this news thing came out, and then it was proven false. But the false thing was still being pushed on like the Instagram accounts, and you read the comments, and people just don't. They just don't think. They don't think at all. It's literally whatever is put in front of me, I believe wholeheartedly, and I react from that. I react emotionally from that. I react irrationally from that. And just imagine that times, like let's say for every minute you're scrolling, you encounter 3 or 4 articles that trigger you like that, and you're probably scrolling for several hours a day. I mean, you're constantly stressed out, constantly agitated, constantly aggravated, and in your mind, the people that are considered your enemy are like there's just like this image you're building up of them just being this totally, completely irredeemable evil monster that just like needs to be put down. And I'm just so I've been off social media for like a month at this point. I just went back on Twitter just so I can share the live stream link, but it's so good to not care about any of that stuff because you go on and you scroll for 30 seconds and you're mad. Something hits you and you're just mad. It's there just to engage you and enrage you and get you hooked on it somehow, some way. It's very interesting, I think, to think about how social media plays on people's plays on like their sinful proclivities. So it's gonna get you either through like like rage, like this addiction to the anger, like wrath, or it's gonna get you through envy, where you're just like scrolling and looking at people who have better things than you, and you're just like, I want that, I want that. Or it's gonna get you through lust, where it's just like get you hooked on pornography or something. And there's just this or pride, right? Because like the selfie and all that stuff, and maybe you have a lot of followers, and so you take pride in the fact that you're like, oh, I'm popular on Twitter or whatever. But it's just like that's how social media gets you. It just plays on one of the vices, and you're gonna be yeah, you're gonna fall to one of those vices, and that's what's gonna keep you coming. Um, I think I would be at the end of the day, I think I would just be okay if social media just kind of died. I um I don't know. I think it was Australia just really like had a law come into play where you have to be older than 16 to have a social media account. And so a ton of 16-year-olds and younger in Australia just lost all their social media. That's only going to be good. That's only going to be good for them. Um, and I want to see at least maybe that first. Maybe even restricted to anyone below like 18, below 21. You got to be able to drink if you want to be on social media in the US. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's benefits, but I think there's so many cons to it as well. The pros versus cons thing is just a very tough thing. So I think one of the toughest things is uncritical or not uncritical, but unbiased. Oh, my whole camera just fell. My whole set just fell. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Unbiased sources, um, and like a little bit more critical and honest takes on current events. I think that's something that just needs to be built up. Uh, so uh,
Well,
you take over while I try to fix my camera
yeah. Well, I just
collapsing
I
again.
posted an article. I guess it was a few months ago at this point. On our blog, which I'm just gonna pull up, because we can do that.
Do we have one of those?
Um, um, and I read this book, The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. This is a great book, but I mean, it, and I kind of read this in the article that like it just like points to all the things that all of us know, right? Like that social media is just so bad for you, and like smartphone use is just so bad for you, and it's especially bad for children as they're developing. And so yeah, like that's a big thing of like not understanding the fact that this headline is obviously hyperbolic, or like it's giving you the details that would make you like be like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Hmm.
And without actually reading the article, you don't get the context. Like that is like a big deal. And that does like I think feed into a lot of like divisiveness, like you're talking about. We're not supposed to talk about politics, Robert. Uh, Robert doesn't care. I'm exaggerating his comments that he made to me. He said
I
not to
think that
choose a political article, is what he said, unless it was related to good politics,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is not at
there you
all.
go.
Don't talk about politics, but um, yeah, like I think that's like the divisiveness in politics is yeah is based on like the way that journalists write about politics. A lot of times it's more divisive than it needs to be. That is a big deal, but also like yeah, like we're learning more and more about. We're not learning, and I think this is the point that I tried to make in my blog post. Is like we're not learning really anything. Like we're just getting data that affirms what all of us are assuming, which is that like social media and the internet and these things, when introduced in an unrestricted way to children, is just
Hmm.
destroying their mental health
Yeah, it's
and like putting
devastating.
them in situations where they just yeah like it's hard to recover from. And he points out, and like not that this is too relevant, but like the fact that it's just so much worse for young girls for like social media side of things, like the
Hmm.
comparison thing, like things like that. Um, but like in general, like there's so much other things with social media that is just bad for everybody. And just with like yeah, like constant access to screens that yeah, just like I see how it destroys my own life, right? Like I see how it distracts me, um, and like yeah, hurts me and hurts my mental health. And to like put that in the hands of an 8-year old, right? Like that's crazy to me that people do that. And I understand that like parenting's hard, and there are moments when like you make decisions, but like yeah, it's just for us to think as a society that like this is fine, right? Like nobody actually
Yeah,
believes that.
no, no,
So
not
for
at
us to
all.
make that compromise as a society, like it feels ridiculous that we should be doing that. I agree that it should be illegal too. Like I think we could set that boundary. I think it's hard because like how do you define social media? Like what are we making illegal for children? Um,
Yeah,
but like I think we could do it, and I think any step is a good step, right? Like I think it's tough again because it's like if you ban Facebook and Instagram, right? Like it's just going to make other social medias more popular, and so then it's just what are you actually accomplishing? But I think for a time you're accomplishing less social media, even if it's 5 minutes, and that's a good thing.
yeah, yeah.
Sweet dude,
Nice.
we love talking about social media.
We love social media. If social media didn't exist, Ben and I wouldn't have a hobby. We wouldn't be allowed to do this
Yeah,
because then we'd just be railing about like Star
politics.
Wars sequels. Oh, yeah, okay, that's it. Dude, we should have callers come in. Did anyone say anything in the chat? You said we had a viewer that
Yeah,
did chat
our
anything.
single chatter. Yeah, I told you, man. They were just talking about Nesson.
Yeah, but is that it though? Is it just Nesson? No questions?
Yeah, they just said sounds like a good read. They're just talking about that book, man.
Oh, nice,
I don't know if
dude.
this is the Joseph that I'm friends with too, or if this is your other Joseph friend.
No, this is our mutual friend.
Nice. It sounds like you would
Yeah,
say it sounds like a good book. It sounds like something your mutual
yeah.
friend would say.
That's what he said. Ask us a question, dude. Ask us
Yeah,
a question. We'll do Q&A. We'll do Q&A if it's a good question. If it's not a good question,
yeah,
I don't want the Q&A.
that's true.
Oh, here's a development in my life. I if you notice, I'm currently wearing wired Apple earbuds, even though I own AirPods.
I thought
I
you were
actually
just
just
poor.
I just I just bought these off Amazon. They're USB-C plugins, so they're designed for the newer iPhones and I guess the iPad. Uh, but I bought them because there's some maybe I'm buying too much into this, but there's some stuff out there that says that the radio frequency of the AirPods is like so great. It's like just shoving a little cell phone into your ear in both ears. Um, and that's like, just not good for you at all. Like not healthy for you. And so they're like, you got to go back to wired. You got to go back to wired. And I'm like, I don't know how true this is, but
Dude,
I
who's saying
do.
that to you?
I do sometimes get like headaches and stuff after using AirPods. And so it was enough for me to say, let me try a wired again and see if that helps. So,
Who's saying that to you?
dude, they are, man. Hey,
Sounds like the voices are speaking to you, like those AirPods, man.
voices speak to me a lot. There's a lot of voices, a lot of speaking. I'm kind of a fan though. Honestly, it's kind of like an aesthetic. Our whole thing is that we're supposed to be analog, dude.
Yeah. It's sad that wired earphones are
A
an
thing of the
aside.
past.
Yeah,
It's annoying because you can go. First off, it was annoying when Apple got rid of the 3.5 millimeter jack because that's the better way of sending out audio. But it's annoying because you can go to someone like Sennheiser, who's a like phenomenal company for headphones and earbuds, and most of their not most, but there's like a good chunk of their stuff that's Bluetooth now. I'm like, I don't want your Bluetooth. I want your wired because you're really good wired. Like I have a pair of headphones from them that's old, probably like 11 years old, maybe even older. And they still are phenomenal quality. They still work super well. But like wireless stuff, you have to charge it constantly. That's the thing. You have batteries stuck to your head. You have to charge it constantly. It's you know wireless. Allegedly, it's hackable. I don't know how true that is. I don't really care about that, but yeah, it's just more of an inconvenience. Like, they're small, you lose them easily. I mean, what's the worst that happened with wired headbuds? They bundled up. You got to untangle them. Like, who cares, man?
that's the worst.
Dude,
Untangling.
untangling their wired headphones. Um, yeah, but I so that's a
Somebody
new
in the
development for
chat,
me.
new person in the chat,
New person in the chat.
just asked if this is live.
Yeah,
It is
who's the
live.
new person?
Um, Another one of our friends.
Oh, I love the support from our friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. They're getting it. They're getting in there.
They're getting there, scooting in. I keep like signing out of the live chat, and that's my bad. I
It's
have
the
to live
worst.
chat live stream. Dude, what else? What else do we got going on today, man?
Well, I want to talk more about wired headphones. I think I yeah, I hate when my headphones get tangled. I will admit in front of friends and nobody else apparently that I do have AirPods. This is a recent acquirement by me within the past couple of months. Um, and like you're saying, I mean, it's probably because it's terrible with the radio waves or whatever, but they
Yeah,
just work so well. I really like, and this is how Apple gets me because you roll the clock back like 2 years. I had no Apple products, as you know.
yeah. I know you were
Um,
pushing cassette tapes into your truck, and you
yeah,
were
I know.
on a light phone.
The
Yeah,
truck, the light phone.
I missed the truck. I was thinking about that the other day. Honestly,
It was great.
that was
Great
fun.
times.
You were more fun when you had that truck.
I
Now I don't know
was.
who you are.
Yeah, I'm kind of lame now.
I was thinking, why I was thinking about it? Because you put the Christmas tree in the bed and lit it up when
Yeah,
we were driving around. That was
that
fun.
was
Yeah,
fun. That was cool.
it's a good old days. Yeah,
That was so cool. I'm just garbage now. Thanks for reminding me of that.
you're
But
welcome, dude.
it's just everything works together. Like with you today, with your Mac. You're
Yeah,
trying to video with your tablet, which definitely worked, and streaming
making
it
it
to your
work.
but like the things like they all connect to each other, and so like the AirPods, like you open the AirPod case and like it appears on your phone. It's just like ready to go,
Yeah,
which is like how Bluetooth works and like how other earbuds work. And I don't know if like there's anything more successful, like better
yeah.
actually, but like they make it look better. They like give you something to be like, oh look, this shows up and it shows me the charge of each earbud, and it just pops up unprompted. It's encouraging, and the audio quality just it's consistent. Um,
Hmm.
Not to say it's like the best it could be, but it always works the way I want it to.
I'm glad, dude. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, but I'm a fan of wired. I'm a fan of wired. I don't like walk around listening to music or using earbuds, and so it feels like I don't need wireless earbuds.
The only time I do is if I'm at the gym, and that's where I feel like wireless actually thrives because the wire gets in the way of lifting otherwise, and
Wow,
that's sort of annoying. So,
that's a good point.
but I otherwise prefer wired. Oh, there's some gibberish going on in the chat here.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's
It's
yeah,
okay. That's how it goes. You get
yeah,
popular, people just spam.
yeah. Mods, can you block them? Can you kick them off? Our mod community.
Yeah.
We have two fans with like 15 mods to monitor the chat because we just really want to we gotta crack down on bad things. You can clip this. That's sick. I've always wanted to say chat clip this. So chat, can you clip this? Chat clip this, and
All
then
right.
send it
So
to me. Hey, remember to
text
email
it to me because
Rob at
everybody in the chat has
analogcatholic.org.
your cell phone number because they're all your friends.
Just text me.
Just text it to me.
Just email Rob at
AirDrop it to me. You're right next
analogcatholic.com.
door.
Yeah. Could you
Um,
imagine if we lived next door? That'd be sick.
we used to all live in the same house. You, me, and the two people in the chat.
That's old roommates get together.
This is it.
This
This
is
is
actually
it.
what this is all about. It's just about
Yeah.
hanging out. That's all.
So, Robert, what do you think about this Netflix? As you had your criticisms of Netflix,
Oh
but
yeah,
Netflix trying
I
to buy
totally left that part.
Paramount. Yeah.
So
So
here,
what's
okay,
the
so
deal?
here's the other background. So I have Verizon, and with Verizon has a lot of good deals. One of them is like $10 a month, get you Netflix and HBO Max. And so I was doing that because there's a show on HBO that I wanted to watch. Well, it's actually not an HBO show; it's a Adult Swim show, but it whatever. It's the catalog's on HBO. It's Smiling Friends. Hard endorsement.
I heard
And
you guys talking about this. You and the two
yeah,
people in the
the
chat.
two people in the chat, yeah.
Like a couple months
Uh,
ago, I've known nothing about this show.
ah, so
You
I
guys didn't want to include me in the conversation.
Yeah, well, you didn't
Did you
know
get
it,
so
so
mad,
it's not
Shane?
fun. Yeah, you were sleeping on the couch. We, I. So my thing was, I only subscribed for like the 2 months the show was coming out because I just wanted to watch the show, and I unsubscribed, because I don't. We like my wife and I never touch Netflix, and she doesn't really touch anything streaming to begin with. But I basically only was watching HBO to watch that one show. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna unsubscribe now. And then I was like, okay, Paramount Plus is coming. I'm going to do Paramount Plus in January for UFC. And then I noticed they were doing their deals. Like I said, I signed up for the deal. And then, like, literally, I had no idea, but there's a merger happening. 2 days later, there's a headline that's like, oh, Paramount Plus, the CEO sent like this strongly worded letter to the HBO shareholders that's like, you're not getting a fair deal. They're just trying to get like Netflix in on this. They're trying to give it to Netflix essentially. Yeah, because right there it says like HBO or Netflix is buying HBO for 27.75 a share, but Paramount's like I'm going to do it for $30 a share. But HBO's the CEO is like, no, we're going to go with Netflix. And so the Paramount Plus CEO is like, first off, he's the son of a very prominent and rich uh, Trump advisor. So that's like one thing. Um, but then two, the Paramount CEO was like, one, there's no way you're gonna get this approved because it's gonna dominate the market share and it's gonna become like an antitrust issue. And then also, he's doing a hostile takeover, which is he went straight to shareholders and said, I'm gonna buy out your shares for $30 a share. So before this could like go through and happen and everything, I'm just gonna purchase the company like direct, which is like whatever, cool. But my whole thing is I wanted Paramount when I found out about this before it was settled. I wanted Paramount to beat on Netflix. So I was like, oh, if Paramount wins, then I just keep the subscription I have, and I now also get back the access to those Adult Swim show I wanted to watch. But if Netflix buys it, if I want to do that, I now have to buy Netflix in the future. I don't want to buy Netflix. I just want to stick to Paramount Plus. And so when I found out Netflix won, I was like, oh, this sucks. But then when I found out that Trump himself said something like, "Yeah, we'll look into it. We'll see if this actually goes through." I'm like, "Wait a second. Are they gonna make it so Netflix can't buy HBO and that Paramount buys it? And if that works out in my favor, that's exactly what I want." That's what I want to have happen because I don't care about collusion or anything like that. I just care about paying for the Paramount Plus subscription and
You don't
not
think it'll
having to
make it
buy a
more
new
expensive?
subscription. It probably will, which whatever. Every streaming service is getting more expensive, but I have it on cheap right now. And so if it gets more expensive, it'd probably just be the same as like a Disney Plus subscription. So it's less than that right now.
What I
So
saw was that
yeah.
um, with the Netflix deal, it's excluding some of their properties. So like it's excluding
Yeah.
their news networks and like a couple other things versus Paramount Plus wanted all of it. So like what confuses me is like how would the Netflix deal being just Netflix excluding some properties, how would that be more of like a monopoly on
Because they're buying the
content?
streaming content. So they're gonna dominate the streaming market.
But
What
I
they're
would say
not
more so than
buying
Paramount Plus. Like Paramount Plus is also buying.
because Paramount Plus is like this market share now, and Netflix is like this market share now. So then if you add HBO's market share, Netflix becomes this as opposed to Paramount Plus, which just becomes more on par with Netflix.
Hmm.
I think that's the argument behind it all.
You think Netflix is that much? I mean, I guess that's what they're saying is that it's that much more
That's their
popular.
argument. I don't know the numbers. I don't care that much.
Yeah, that seems
Oh,
interesting.
our
I
live
feel like
stream, our
nobody has
watchers
Netflix
back.
anymore.
I feel like I think you and I and the two people in this chat that are our friends and former roommates need to remember we're we're in the world, but we're not of the world, and so a lot of the people we associate with and talk to are gonna be of that mindset, of, like don't stream shows ever or often, don't have TVs in their living rooms, or don't do X, Y, or Z. But like the vast majority of people in the world do in fact subscribe to these things, do in fact go home from work and just watch like 4 hours of television, or they do have these types of setups. And so when we present anecdotal evidence of this kind of stuff, I know what you're saying because it's true for me too. Like, yeah, most people I know don't stream anything or watch. Like, even though I stream or I buy streaming services, I barely watch anything. Um, but I think for most people, because I see this a lot when my wife and I travel for holidays to our families, and there's just like always something on. Like they just have a TV on. I don't know if it's a Gen X thing to just like always have television on, but it's really like
Somebody in the chat
just
just said, "Gotta watch my stories," which is totally that's it, man.
that's
Boomers, they gotta watch their
gotta watch your
stories.
soap operas. Yeah, gotta watch my stories. I don't know. I think it's a generational thing. I'm a millennial. I'm a young millennial, and you're like a normal Gen Zer, I guess. But in the age range of normal Gen Z, I married an older Gen Z. But you're younger than her. I think it's a generational thing too. Like millennials love streaming services. Millennials love their little slop that they see on television. Um, I mean, I do. I enjoy television. I enjoyed shows. I enjoyed movies. I don't do it a lot now, but I think it's a very common thing. I think Gen Z also is getting into it, but it's just not a. It's not something our. I don't say our people. It's not something the people we associate with do because who we are and who they are. But I think in the broader scheme, culturally, like, yeah, Netflix is probably owned by a ton of people. I bet there's a lot of people who just pay $50+ a month to subscribe to like 3 or 4 streaming services and probably only ever really use one, or they're just constantly using it. Um,
Well, I think this is why I think
yeah.
this about Netflix too is because like even when I was in college, like I remember discussing it in like my marketing classes. Like multiple times it came up that like, oh, Netflix just increased their price again. And like what does that
Yeah,
look like for like how they're gonna exist in the future? Like they're always increasing their price. Like that seems to be a controversial thing. And I
it's
remember
true.
students that I was in classes with saying, like, no, I don't use Netflix. Like they were all like, they had their own hip
Mm,
new streaming services. So maybe it is a generational thing too of like what services, even
mm.
if like these people are, more secular and are, more interested in watching the show. Here's a show on
Yeah.
Netflix that I was just watching today.
Okay.
Um, as somebody who watches very little TV nowadays, Stranger Things. You heard of it,
Ooh, I've heard of it, dude. I have some. I yeah.
dude? Let's hear it, man. This is a show.
No, my thing is this is a I think it's symptomatic of streaming. They took way too long, man. I
Yeah,
saw that
oh,
show when it
100%.
first came out, and I saw the
Yeah.
first two seasons, and I was like, "That's good. Like, this is a good show. I enjoy this." And then it took like 3 years for the third season, and like another three. It's just like, dude, I stopped watching. Like, I don't
So
care. I'm not
my
invested in the story at all at this point.
my wife and I, we mooch Netflix off her parents, and they're canceling their subscription to Netflix. And so,
Yeah,
like, whatever, a year, 6 months ago, we were like, well, we're never going to be watching Netflix again. Is there anything on Netflix we actually want to watch? And like, let's watch it.
yeah,
So we're like Stranger Things, like that was a big thing for a while.
yeah.
And so we like watched through all of it over the course of, well, this was before our child was born.
Mhm.
So we had more time, but it still took us a while to watch through all of it. Um, and then they just came out with like they're like releasing the new season in two parts. Um, and it's like a good show. But like when I think about Netflix and when I look at Netflix, I'm like, what else on this do I actually want to watch? First of all, I'm very like not interested in watching television in general, but
Yeah.
also like I'm just like nothing interests me. Maybe the Christmas Prince. One of the people that's in the chat would know what that is.
Big Christmas Prince fan.
Christmas Prince fan.
I watched the third one with you guys, so I was totally lost plot wise,
Yeah,
but yeah.
no, it's complex, man. It's complex plot, really
Free
deep,
Netflix
deep
if you
themes.
have T-Mobile, I think. Thanks, live chat. I was saying
Uh,
earlier that Verizon gives you $10 for Netflix and HBO and $10 for like the Disney Plus with like Hulu and everything, which like is a good deals, but it's also just so easy to say yes to those, and all of a sudden your phone bill just jumps up like $50, and you're like, huh.
so,
But the Disney Plus one we use, my wife likes Disney. I like Hulu. I like the shows that are on Hulu more than anything. Um, I don't watch a ton of them, but like, yeah, I'll usually go that route. And then like X Files is on there. I'm going through X Files, and I love X Files. Um, and then yeah, like I said, Paramount Plus.
so straight to finish my point too.
Oh, sorry. That was
Yeah,
it was
it's
like
okay.
it was
It's
a
really important,
chat.
but that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, we got to keep the people watching, I guess.
I got
Um,
we got to interact with the chat, or they're gonna hate us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, do you have
so Stranger
donations
Things,
enabled? Sorry,
I have no idea how to do that. Stranger Things, it's
I'll
ending,
post my Venmo in the chat.
which I'm so excited about. Your personal Venmo.
Sorry, there you
You better
go.
give me 50, man. No, you go ahead, or just post the shop, dude. Make sure they go to the shop.
Oh yeah, okay.
Um,
Is it just analogcatholic.com/shop?
there's like a P in there, I think. You got
Okay.
to look it up. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm gonna guess and say this is the link.
I don't think it's right. If you're guessing, I don't think it's right because I'm pretty sure there's like an extra letter that
Yeah,
some
the
stuff needs
P.
to be put in.
I don't think you can't click links directly. But I can copy paste it. You say your story. Say your story. I'll make this work. I'll make this work.
Um,
Oh, that worked. That worked. That was the right link. All right, go finish your story.
oh, the show's ending is my point, and so I'm happy because it's like this times well because now I'm gonna be happy to never have Netflix again,
Yeah,
and I'm glad the show ended because it was a good show, and I think honestly, even watching my wife and I were just watching sort of the segments of the last season today
yep,
because they're gonna like release the second half of it at some point. And it was like I'm like it's still good. It's still good. Some modern secular messaging in there, but not too abrasive. Nothing too crazy. And it's fun and I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just glad it's ending is my
Oh, I
point.
just realized I'm
Like
posting from my
I don't
gaming
care about
channel.
this.
No, whatever.
Dude, now we all know. Now we all
My
know.
secret gaming channel. I
What's
don't
even
post any
channel
videos at all to it.
Oh, you're just saying that so I don't check.
You can check. I don't post any videos to it. Uh, okay, so I wanted to say, sorry, did you finish your
You
things?
weren't even listening. It's okay. It's okay.
I was
You can.
posting the shop, dude. You
I,
have me post the shop?
this shop is not on there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, it is, dude. analogcatholic.com/p/shop.
I don't see it.
Are you kidding me?
I might have cut it out because it's a link and you're not a.
Oh, that makes sense.
I
That
just
makes
sent it.
sense. Okay. No, I don't see it in yours either. Maybe they just ban links from the chat.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, go to analogcatholic.com/p/shop.
Does that work?
Yes, that works. That's how I
It'll
did
be in
it.
the description.
All right, so I'm just gonna talk now. 'Cause I feel like you're Stranger Things. So one of the chatters said, I heard Netflix is making TV shows where the characters describe what they're doing, so it's easier for people to put those series on in the background. I feel, I feel like we're in dark times if that's true.
That's
I don't
crazy.
know. I don't know. Okay, so I know that there's people like people have told me they like putting shows on in the background because they like the background noise because it makes them feel like they're not alone. And I kind of get that, but also,
But like when you're alone, you should be alone. Like that's
yeah.
important.
Well, also like if you like need to just like stimulate yourself because you're like whatever you don't like being alone, I would like just sit and watch the show then, you know,
Yeah,
or listen to music or play a game or if you're doing something else, then just focus on just like really intently focus on the other thing
that's true.
and not get help. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Was it Pascal who said, I'm going to botch this, but he said something like, man's problems can be boiled down to the fact that he can't sit alone in a dark room by himself, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Um,
I think that's there's some truth there. You really get to know yourself when you do that. It's the best way to get to know yourself. Best way to know God as well, I think.
speaking of my college days in a secular university, I had a professor, um, one of my favorites, who like would just go on rants. We would joke about it when
Oh, you told me
like,
about
we
this
lived
guy.
together. But I remember him
Yeah.
saying once, he was like, I guarantee you can't go home tonight and go sit in your bathroom and shut all the lights off and close the window and not have your phone and sit there for 20 minutes. Like he said that to the whole class.
Yeah.
Everybody rolled his eyes, and I was like, I bet you can't. I bet nobody can. I bet I can. You can't.
Dude, of course you can, dude.
Yeah, no, because I'm better than everyone else. No, no, but I think yeah, I think I get it too. Like the idea of you're alone in a house and you feel like you're gonna get killed, so you put the show on. But like, there's also like a beauty in the silence as well, which
Yeah,
we
I
talked
think
about
yeah.
on the cast before.
Dude, we're 7 minutes from midnight. Are we going past midnight or are we stopping at midnight?
What do you want, man?
I don't know, man. I've had a long week.
I had my cozy chamomile. What does the chat want?
What is the show? My wife asked me like 10 times today. She's like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to do this?" And I
I
was like,
asked
"Yeah,
I asked my
yeah."
wife 10 times. I'm like, "Are you sure you don't want to tell me I can't?" So that I tell her that I can't.
Oh my
Dude, what does the
gosh.
chat want? What does the chat want?
Yeah, the chat's not talking, dude. Did we lose the chat?
They're having their own conversations.
Dude, it's good to get some viewers because I think that like will trick YouTube into promoting us as like
Yeah,
on now, live now,
exactly, exactly.
and that's gonna be a huge deal. Who is watching from the United States? I am.
I'm watching. Nobody's responding. They must all of our many viewers
They
must
left
all
us.
be out of the country.
They left us.
So we're learning.
This is terrible. Like this. I like this.
So Robert,
Yeah.
how's your Advent going? How's
Yeah,
your
my
Advent?
advent's just been a lot of travel and a lot of work. And my wife and I are moving next month. And so there's also just a lot of like working on that. So it's been a very it's a season of waiting and I feel like we've just been a season of not waiting and going and doing.
Mm,
And yeah, I feel like that's been tough to like go into Advent with that mentality, but yeah.
yeah, I get that, man. I feel like for a few months. I think the past few weeks. Well, that's not true. Last week. Well, yeah. Um, for a while, it was like my family was traveling like every weekend,
Yeah.
and it was just crazy. Like it's so hard, especially with young children. Like it becomes just so like very little like relaxation when you travel. I feel, at least in my experience, is like
Yeah.
you go to do the thing and it's good, right? And even if it's like a wonderful, exciting thing that you're going to, like my wife and I went to a wedding right before Thanksgiving, and it's like
Hmm.
this is great, and we're happy to be at this wedding, and this is incredible. Or like we traveled for Thanksgiving, and it's like this is awesome. Like we're with family for Thanksgiving, but it like wasn't relaxed. Like there's no relaxing element to
Yep.
it, just because there's just so much to do and think about, especially when it's just a weekend, right? Because like it's hard to like get settled. Um, so as exciting as those things can be, yeah, I feel like it's tough to relax in those moments.
Yeah, that's been we literally part of this like marathon of a week was we had a wedding yesterday several states away from us, from where we live, and so we had driven down to her parents' house because they're closer to where the wedding was, and like we had a blast at the wedding. We actually caught up with some old friends we haven't seen in a while. We had a great time. Like our daughter did very well, but it's just like constant driving, constant packing up, like feeling like we just live out of a suitcase, and it's just yeah, it's a lot. And so it just like takes away from yeah, like I said, it feels like it's taken away from the season. I think this has been a side effect of my wife and I in our way of living for the past several years. I mean, even before we started, even before we were married, this was sort of how we lived, which was a lot of travel in our lives, and it's always made it hard to enter liturgically into things because we're usually just like doing other things during that time, or we're just like traveling a ton. And so I'm very excited because this next move is sort of it in the sense of if we move again, it's more of just like switching houses as opposed to like moving cities or states. Maybe towns, like, but it'll still be the same community overall. Um, but it's supposed to be like the final state for us, no more big moves like that. And so I'm excited to have that to settle, to put some roots down, but also because we'll be much closer to both our families. So even if we do travel, the travel time is significantly less, and that's going to be huge for us. And so I'm looking forward to that. That starts next year. So right now it's a little rough, but for like
Same here.
Easter, like Lent and Easter, I'm looking forward to this year because I feel like I'll be actually able to do Easter and
Right.
Lent properly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's fair. And I mean, that's a season of waiting, right?
Hmm.
You're waiting for the opportunity to actually be able to properly wait in the season of waiting.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's a good point.
It's also hard to like, I find this, I mean, this is something I've always struggled with, but to like be in a period of my life that I know is like going to completely change soon. And then it's
Hmm.
just like, yeah, it's hard to like do the wait, which is kind of what Advent's about. But it's like hard to be like, do all the things. And it's like, if this is just all over, then things would be better, even though that's not always true. It's just,
Yeah.
how you make it in your mind. I get that, man. We're traveling for late December, early January, aren't we, Robert?
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be in Columbus, Ohio at the Sikh conference, for all our viewers that
Yeah.
are Catholics and young adults. Um, so please join us there, man.
Yeah, we'll be at Seek.
Come
We're
ask for
gonna have a fun
autographs.
time. We're gonna yeah, ask for autographs. We're gonna do an episode somehow um at Seek. Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody asked if we're gonna have a booth on Mission Way. We,
I
we
wish.
didn't register a booth, but you
We
might
also
you
we
might see
talked a
us. We
lot.
might commandeer an empty booth.
Yeah, we might just show up and just sit next to the booth star and just act like we're supposed to have a booth.
Yeah, just sit in
We
chairs.
We
for
talked about
Amazons.
doing like a digital sponsorship because the cheapest sponsorship. I think you just like appear on the website and then have like a very long list. And we didn't do that, so we're not even sponsors, even though we wanted to.
Yeah.
Um,
But you found us anyway, dear viewer.
yes, you have.
Oh, the clock struck midnight.
Ah,
Gonna turn into a pumpkin. That's the same person that said, or that would say, gotta watch my stories. Would say I'm gonna turn
am
into a pumpkin.
driving right now. Why are you driving so late? It's almost
Driving
midnight.
and texting.
It is midnight, and you're texting on
Texting
you.
is
So you're
bad.
watching YouTube and texting in the chat
This is
while
bad.
driving.
This is bad. We don't endorse this.
Whiskey sour equals not relaxing. Happy God Out Day Sunday. Will you have a booth on Mission Way at Cinderella? Oh, the pumpkin reference. Okay, I
The
get it now.
pumpkin. The pumpkin reference.
This guy is so good. This super chatter. I wish we can give him money. Can
He
we?
gives us
Yeah,
money.
oh, that's right. Sorry.
It'd be fun if you could redirect money. If somebody
That
gives
would
you
be
five
fun.
dollars, you could be like, "I'll give 250 to this other person."
Yeah,
All right. Well, I think that's it. That's all we got tonight.
I think so.
We appreciate you joining us
We'll take
for our first ever night stream.
dude. Our first ever night stream. We had a lot of technical difficulties before we got on, so
Yeah,
it's
we
just
did.
shorter than we
We did
planned.
spend like an hour trying to
Trying to
figure
figure
it
out
out.
the answer really is just I'll just buy an actual webcam for my Mac and it'll solve so many problems.
Yeah. All right. Well, my name is Ben,
I'm Rob,
and this has been
analog Catholic.